Hello! In today's video, I'm going to make an owl out of Worbla Crystal Art. We'll get started right after this. To get started on this product, we're going to pour some Worbla Crystal Art into my glass measuring cup, and then I just heat that up with my heat gun. I do heat it up on low because I don't want to get that glass too hot. Once it starts to melt together, I can start sculpting it. I do have some heat-resistant gloves on. I've never tried to sculpt this Worbla Crystal Art without them. Just thought it'd be safer. Now I'm going to mix in some glitter. This is translucent, so I thought it'd be fun to put some glitter in there and just add a little more sparkly to my owl. So I'm going to continue to heat it up. I did notice when I used my heat gun after I put the glitter in there, it kind of went all over. I still had enough in the cup to mix in, just kind of a heads up if you try this project. So I've got quite a bit of it heated up and smooshed together. I'm just going to continue to roll this, try to get rid of any little lines or little like definition from the crystals. I don't want that. I want it to look like a solid piece. It would be a lot of fun if this was totally clear, but I could, do something with a mold and do resin if I wanted to go that route with a project. So now I'm just using my ball tool to make some indentions for the eyes. I'm going to use some glass beads for the eyes. So I want to have a place to insert those. So my little beads here are made for like bracelets or necklaces. So they do have an opening on two sides. So I do have to adjust those a bit to make sure those openings are not visible. So that way I just have a nice glass bead eyes for this guy. Then I went ahead and started an indentation for where I'm going to put the beak. So I just want to make sure I get that carved out now while it's still soft. Now this was a little bit too long, so I trimmed off some of the Worbla Crystal Art. And now I'm just going to heat it up and get this smoothed out so I can make the tail, and then I'll save some of this for the wings. So I want to make sure that his tail feathers are really thin. So I don't want to have a big bulky area there. And then I jump around a lot. I notice something that needs adjusted, so I'll go ahead and take care of it. And while this was still soft, I wanted to try to do some texture on it. Then I'm just cutting a little bit off of my bigger piece there to make his tail. So I want to have it kind of fan out, so I'm going to cut off some excess to get the shape I want. Now I'm going to go ahead and heat up the tail and the body to make sure that they will bond together. And so I'll kind of smoosh those together, get those pieces to bond, and then I'm going to take my ball tool and smooth them in together so they merge and it's a nice durable piece. Keep adjusting it, shaping it just how I want. And this stuff stays warm for a while and it'll continue to kind of change shape, as gravity pulls on it. So I have to keep adjusting it. And I'm just going to use my needle tool to add some texture. I don't know how visible this is or noticeable it's going to be on the final sculpt, but I wanted to go ahead and do it. Now I'm going to take this piece here, heat it up some more, and cut out my wings. So I'm just heating it up a little bit on both sides, smoothing it out, kind of stretching it so it's not too thick. And then I'm going to cut out my first wing. And when I'm happy with the size and shape of that, I'm going to use this as kind of my pattern for my second wing and just cut around it. So that way both my wings are pretty close to the same size. I'm not worried about it being 100% symmetrical, but I don't want them to be totally disproportionate. So now that I'm happy with those, I'm going to go ahead and heat them up and attach them to my body. But first, I'm going to add a little bit of texture to them. So this is kind of represent the feathers on them. So I'll get this heated up, get my wing attached to make sure it's bonded on there. Went ahead and did that with the other wing. The last thing I need to do is sculpt out my little owl's beak. So I just took a little bit of this scrap Worbla Crystal Art, and I just heated it up, sculpting that into my beak shape. And so I've got a nice base on it here towards the face area that's a little bit thicker. So I'm going to push that in to that opening I had. So I went ahead, I'm using my needle tool to kind of adjust that. It didn't look like it was quite deep enough, so I'm going to heat it up some more to adjust the head and add some more detail to it. And get this smoothed out. I like the placement there, but it still needs to go in just a little bit deeper, so I'm going to heat it up some more, use my ball tool to open that up just a little bit more. Get that pushed into place. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just add a little bit more like texture and detail work with my needle tool until I'm 100% happy with my little owl character here. Adjusted the wings out a little bit more, wanted to give it, just make it look a little more dynamic and add some detail around the eyes. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and set this guy aside. I'm going to let it cool for a while. Not necessarily overnight, but just let it cool down all the way. And here is the finished owl out of Worbla Crystal Art with a little bit of glitter. So you can see that glitter shining in there, but it is translucent because you can see, even from the back, you can see those beads for the eyeballs. I think this would be a fun thing to do, to add even like a little LED or one of those like electric candles to it, hollow out the center. So that would be fun to do something like that. And I have some of those left over, so I might try that with a bigger project. This guy's a little bit too small for it, or I could have him sitting on top of it. But that's something I could definitely try with a future project. And you can see here, he's got some flexibility to him, so he should be pretty durable. Here's a close-up look of our little owl. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any ideas for future projects out of Worbla Crystal Art, please leave it in the comments down below. And remember, never stop creating. Bye! Be sure to check out one of these other great videos from my channel. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click that little notification bell so you don't miss a video.